So here is coming another video of the history of Harlan. You know, what places are now and what they were then. That little place right here used to be Francis Flowers. And that's where my grandmother would always buy flowers, you know, for funerals and such. Right there, Francis Flowers. And right here on the corner is Kentucky Family Dentistry. And it used to be Dr. Howard, but now it is Dr. Caitlin Patel, and she is amazing. Definitely, she is the dentist I go to, and oh, she's amazing. Amazing. I cannot brag on her enough. Now this, right now, is the Boys and Girls Club, but it used to be Harlan County Literacy. And if you look, there's still on the door here where it was teaching adults to read. Because, you know, you wouldn't believe it, but there were a lot of adults that couldn't read. And here's the library. Oh, and there's the kitty. This kitty's name is Paige. Hi, Paige. Cute. Anyway, it used to be the Harlan County Public Library, and then a generous donation from Bill Whitfield and his family made it the Whitfield Public Library, which turned it into what this is, because it used to just be like one room. And that house right on the corner there, I think a police officer lives there now, but it used to be Miss Carroll's house. She was the English teacher at Harlan City High School. Well, there used to be a house there that burned down. And it burned down not all that long ago. And right there in that house is where the Shacklefords lived. It was a guy I went to school with. His name was Derek Shackelford. That's where he lived. Don't know who lives there now. And before this was built, there was a building there, and it was called the Frisk House. Frysc. Before they built Harlan Middle School there. Now, when I went to school here, right here, this was Harlan High School, and right down there, the gym. This was the only buildings there were on this side. While I was in school, my freshman year, they built this. And upstairs there was the chemistry lab and the biology room. And I'm not sure what was downstairs. I didn't have any classes down there. But I do know up there that was biology, and that one over there was chemistry. And this is the Harlan City Elementary School, where I started out. Yep. And that was, of course, back before they had that shed there. And I have a picture that was taken, you know, all this whole front here has been redone. I have a picture where I was standing right around through here, in this area right here, with my dad, and I had just graduated kindergarten. Yeah, and that where it says Harlan Elementary School, established 1911, blah, 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 that was not there. And right next to it, of course, this big pillar wasn't here, and this big shed going over that way was not here. Right there, that you can tell it's new, was not there. This was all just, it was higher up, and there were bushes around this area, and these bottom windows right here is where the cafeteria was. And we would do red light, yellow light, green light, yellow, red, whatever, however you go. We would do that when we would get too loud, you know, they'd say red light, and you know how it goes. Anyway, You see this wall right here? That's what it was like all around the front there. And there were bushes. Now, family story. Right through here, it was right down this wall here. There were some kids playing. Now this was way back, years and years before I was born. And my uncle, my mom's brother, Willard, was a bus driver. And there was a kid who fell off this wall and he ran over him. The kid was killed. Very tragic. Before Highway 38 there, and before this crosswalk, catwalk, whatever you want to call it, there was a bridge right here that led right over to that road. The bridge came across here. But then, of course, they built Highway 38. And the road came down and they built this catwalk, crosswalk. Now, there used to be some trailers right through here. And that's where we had class for Harlan Middle School. We had science, English, math, and history. And this was also part of Harlan Middle School. Right there, these bottom windows here. Of course, they've redone the building since then. But these bottom windows here was where I had Mrs. Ralston for algebra in 109. And in that house right there is where Enoch Fouch, my old elementary school principal, used to live. He and his wife. His wife was the nurse, the school nurse. And they have both passed since then. But don't know who lives there now, but yeah, that's where they used to live. Right there is the Harlan County Health Department. Now, did you know that it used to be 1 story? Yes, and then they turned it into 2 stories. Right there is the Harlan Presbyterian Church. Now, back when I was young, the preacher was Fred Griffey. And, of course, he has since passed. But Fred was something else. And you know, he always said that to connect with younger people, you have to speak their language. Well, yeah, I guess. I do remember him seeing somebody speeding down through here and said, gosh, they're going faster than a bat out of hell. But, okay, yep. Fred Griffey. Now, I'm not sure if it was this one or this one or that great big one right there in the back. But one of those used to be the hanging tree. That's where they hung people. It's one of those. Either that one back there, that one, or that one up there. And here on the courthouse lawn, there used to be benches right through here. And old men would sit here and whittle all day long. They would sit and whittle. And this, of course, I've had this in my other videos before, but this is a time capsule. Okay? My dad told me that there was a murder that had never been solved here in Harlan. And I can't remember the guy's last name. I remember my dad calling him Mario. And that was when my dad was a police officer. And he said that when he was called to Mario's house, I'm not sure if it's Mario or Mario, but he always called him Mario. He said that when he tried to open the door, there was something blocking the door, and they found out that it was Mario's body. They never found out who killed him. And it was right after that time capsule had been put in there. So he always told me the little story about, you know, when they open that time capsule, they may find out who killed Mario. Back during the days of the gun thugs and the Bloody Harlan days, right here on these steps, right outside the Harlan Beer Company, is where a man was shot and took his last breath. Right here is something that might not interest you, but it's very interesting to me. This was a step. Yes, you stepped down on this, and then you step down another step. But this is how far they've built up the road. Now right here, next to the portal, is apartments up there, and there's offices in the bottom. Okay, the building that was there before burned down. It was 107 North Main Street, and I know this because it was apartments, and my grandmother lived up here. And right up there is where her windows were. Right there on that side. She had two windows. One for each bedroom. And now at the bottom was El Dorado Tires. And then there where Harvest Worship Center is now was Rowlett's. It was a furniture store. And that used to be apartments up top. And right there where Jillian's Pet Grooming was a hair salon. And it was Lori, oh gosh, what was her last name? She was my mom's best friend. Lori, I know at one time she was married to a guy named Wayne Rickett. So anyway, her name was Lori. It was Lori's Beauty Shop right there. And right there where Henry's, the souvenir shop is now, it used to be David Smith. He was an accountant. Now down through here was also part of Rowlett's furniture store. And also down here was Bissell's before they moved up there across from what used to be Jay's Sandwich Shop. And then went out of business altogether. And right there used to be a parts store. Car parts. I do not remember the name of it, but I remember that it was a car parts store. And right there is Harlan Baptist Church. It has been there since, gosh, forever. And when I was a little kid, it did not have stained glass windows. And I remember when they did the stained glass. This used to be the Mansion branch of the Bank of Harlan. Then the Bank of Harlan turned into Monticello Banking Company, which, yeah, I do not use Monticello Banking Company. We might talk about that later in another video, but, yeah, now. Anyway, I do not remember when this was built, but I'm thinking that it is not all that old. It was like when I was a baby is when they built it. And right there is the Harlan United Methodist Church. And it used to be Reverend Burnett. Back in the day, he lived right there next to it. And that little walkway in between there is when the Harlan County Humane Society, when we used to meet, we used to go right back in there to that little room. And right there is Clover Fort Clinic, and that used to be Harlan Hospital. Big, tall building. So here's where we're going to finish up. This is the Hendrickson building now. It has several shops and stuff in it. But it used to be the bus terminal, Greyhound. And the buses would come right around through here. And they would pick up passengers right here. And they would exit right over here. So yep, there's another adventure of the history of Harlan, where things used to be and what they used to be please give me a like, please subscribe, and share my video out. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.